Junie B. Jones, Dumb Bunny. Hello, All-Stars. It's me, Mrs. Elkins. Today I am bringing you back to one of my favorites, Junie B. Jones, and this one is called Dumb Bunny. Perfect for Easter time, don't you think? This is an accelerated reader book. Today I will be reading chapters 1, 2, and 3. And as always, the words will be on the screen so you can read along with me or you can relax and just listen. Either way, you'll have a great story. Let's get started. Chapter 1, Dumb Bunnies and Clucks. Monday. Dear first grade journal, dumb bunny, dumb bunny, dumb bunny. I am not allowed to say dumb bunny on account of my teacher heard me call May that name on the playground, and he said for me to knock it off. Only here is something I just thought of. Even if I can't say dumb bunny out loud, I can still think it inside my head, 'cause heads are silent, which is what I like about heads. I am going to try it out right now. I put down my pencil and looked at May. Then I squinted my eyes real teensy. And I thought the name just to myself, dumb bunny, dumb bunny, dumb bunny, dumb bunny. May looked at me suspicious. What are you doing, Junie B. Jones? Why are you squinting like that? She asked. Stop it right now. Stop that squinting. I paused my squint. I'm not just squinting at you, May. I'm also thinking a name about you inside my head. But you don't even know what name I'm thinking because heads are silent, which is what I like about heads, I said. May frowned. I started my squint again. Dumb bunny, dumb bunny, dumb bunny, dumb bunny, I thought. After I finished, I brushed my hands together, very satisfied. There, that ought to hold me for a while, I said. May kept on frowning, then blam! She exploded out of her chair. And then she zoomed to the front of the room. Mr. Scary, Junie B called me that name again. I know she did, only she thought it inside her head, and that is just plain sneaky. Mr. Scary was writing at his desk. He closed his eyes and did a big breath. May, what are 3 new rules about tattling? He asked. You and I came up with 3 new rules to control your tattling, remember? Can you tell me what they are, please? May stood there for a real long time. She did not like the 3 new rules, I believe. Finally, she started to say them. Rule number 1, count to 20 before I tattle, she grumped. Mr. Scary nodded. Yes, May, excellent. That's the first rule. Go on. Rule number 2, said May. If I still feel like tattling, count to 20 again. Mr. Scary did a thumbs up. Yes, good. And rule number 3? May sucked in her cheeks. Rule number 3, if I still feel like tattling after that, go home, eat dinner, go to bed, wake up, eat breakfast, come back to school, raise my hand to tattle, then put my hand over my mouth, and please be quiet, she said. Mr. Scary clapped his hands. Perfect, you got it. Those are exactly the rules we talked about, aren't they? He said. I'm very proud of you for remembering them. He stood up and walked her back to her chair. You have a great memory for rules, May, he said. But the next step is to actually follow the rules, okay? And I don't believe you counted to 20 this time, did you? I leaned over and I tapped on him. I can vouch for that, I said. There was definitely no counting. Mr. Scary frowned at me. I'll deal with you in a minute, Miss Jones, he said. You and I are going to reveal the rules on name calling. I did a gulp. But I didn't even call her a name, Mr. Scary. All I did was think a name in my head, I said. May flashed her angry eyes. No, you did not just think it, Junie B. Jones. You told me you were thinking it, and that is exactly like saying it almost, she said. she went on. Plus, you didn't even think it quietly. You thought it so loud that I could hear it in your brain. May looked up at Mr. Scary. My ears were tested last year in kindergarten, she said. The nurse said I can hear as good as a North American barn owl. Mr. Scary stared at her a real long time. No, May. No, I'm sorry, he said finally, but the nurse did not tell you that. You do not hear as well as a North American barn owl. May squirmed in her chair a little bit. Squirming is what happens after fibbing. At least has always been my experience. After a minute, May put her head on her desk, and she covered up with her sweater. Mr. Scary bent down next to me. As for you, Miss Jones, this is the absolute last time that I ever want to talk to you about name-calling, he said. I don't want you to say dumb bunny or think dumb bunny or sing dumb bunny or hum dumb bunny or write dumb bunny. Do you understand? I tapped my fingers on my desk. But then what am I supposed to do when May is mean to me? I asked him. I have to call her something or else she won't even know I'm mad. He thought for a second. Then I clapped my hands together. Hey, I know. Maybe I could just think the dumb part in my head. And I'll just call her plain Bunny, I said. Would just plain Bunny be okay with you? May popped up from under her sweater. No, she grouched. Just plain Bunny isn't nice either. My friend named Sheldon stood up. Bunny isn't nice? How come Bunny isn't nice? He asked. I have an aunt named Bunny, and she's very, very nice. Sheldon looked at Mr. Scary. My Aunt Bunny is married to my Uncle Vern, he said. Aunt Bunny has a lot of Mr. Scary quick held up his hand. Yes, Sheldon, we know. You've told us many interesting things about your Aunt Bunny, but right now we don't need to hear more about your Aunt Bunny's skull tattoos, said Sheldon. Please sit down, said Mr. Scary. Across the room, Lucille sprang right up. Well, I love bunnies, she said, and so this subject is perfect timing for me because I'm having a big party at my giant house on Saturday and all of you are invited to come. She bounced up and down real excited. And guess what else? A very famous bunny is going to be there to meet you. And guess who it is, everyone? Guess the bunny, she said. Room 1 thought real hard. Then all of us started to guess at once. Bugs Bunny? Buster Bunny? The Bionic Bunny? Thumper? We guessed. Lucille rolled her eyes. No, she said. My bunny is way more famous than those dumb cartoon guys. We guessed some more. The Trix Rabbit? The Velveteen Rabbit? Peter Rabbit? We asked. Lucille stamped her foot. No, she said again. What's wrong with you people? It's the Easter Bunny. Haven't you ever heard of the Easter Bunny? She reached into her desk and pulled out some fancy envelopes. Then she waved them around real angry. Do you see these invitations, huh? Do you? She asked. These are invitations to an Easter egg hunt at my rich, expensive house, and I was going to pass them out at lunch, but if you dumb Clucks never even heard of the Easter Bunny, just never mind the whole thing. After that, she did a huffy, and she flounced back in her chair. Mr. Scary hurried over there. Then he quick got her up, and he took her by the hand, and he walked her into the hall. They were gone a real long time. When they finally came back, Lucille said she was sorry for calling us dumb Clucks. That is some kind of insult, apparently. Then she took the envelopes out of her desk again, and she gave everyone an invitation. And so yippee, hooray, Room 1 is going to the party. Chapter 2, Clothes and Nubs. Lucille was still mad at lunch. I just don't get it, she grouched. How could anyone forget the Easter Bunny? The Easter Bunny brings candy right to your door. Lenny did a frown at her. "He doesn't bring candy to my door, Lucille," he said. "The Easter Bunny is a different religion than me. I'm Jewish." Shirley nodded. "I'm Jewish too, Lucille," she said. "I've never even been to an Easter egg hunt before. What do you wear to something like that anyway?" Lucille stood up and fluffed herself. "Well, since the Easter Bunny and I are the same religion, I'm going to wear a fancy Easter dress, Shirley," she said. Shirley thought for a minute. Then she nodded. Then I guess I will wear a fancy Jewish dress," she said. Lenny's eyes lighted up. "Really, Shirley? You mean we have our own clothing line?" he asked. He smiled. "Then I think I will wear some fancy Jewish pants," he said. My friend named Herbert tapped on his chin. "Let's see. Since I'm a Presbyterian, I guess I should wear Presbyterian pants," he said. He turned around and looked at me. "Presbyterian means we iron out our wrinkles, I think," he said. Just then, Sheldon slapped the table with his hand. "Hey, I know! I will wear a fancy turban." "A fancy turban is religious clothes, right?" he asked. "I love fancy turbans." Mr. Scary was listening to us while he ate. He quick put down his sandwich. "Boys and girls, you're getting way off track here," he said. "Lucille's Easter egg hunt is not a religious party, really. I've spoken to her mother about it. It's more of a spring picnic with an egg hunt activity. Am I right, Lucille?" "Yes," she said. "My mother said the Easter Bunny isn't even working that day. He's just going to hop around the party and smile and have his picture taken with people." I thought about that for a second. "I don't think bunnies should smile," I said. "Bunnies have yellow teeth like clown teeth, except bunny teeth are way pointier." Sheldon nodded. "My Aunt Bunny has a pointy tooth," he said. "She can stab a pickle with it, and the pickle just stays there." All of us just stared at him. "Sheldon has the interestingest family I ever heard of." Lucille did a big breath. "Well, I don't care about pointy bunny teeth," she said. "Bunnies have cute floppy ears and puffy fluffy tails and itchy twitchy little noses." I kept on picturing their teeth. "Bunny teeth can nibble your head into a nub," I said. "No, they cannot, Junie B. Jones," she said back. "Oh, yes, they can, Lucille, whatever your last name is," I said. "I saw it on Oprah." Mr. Scary glared at me. I ducked down in my seat and quieted my voice. "Oprah has a lot of nub information," I said very soft. Mr. Scary glared again. I started to squirm. Teachers can spot a fib a mile away. Lucille told us more about the party. She said there was going to be lots of delicious food to eat. Plus, also, there was going to be an exciting prize for the Easter egg winner. "And wait till you hear this," she said. "My daddy is going to hide a real pretend golden egg. And whoever finds the golden egg will win the grand prize of the day. And that is a fabulous play date with me, Lucille." She twirled around and hugged herself. "And it's not just any old fabulous play date with me either," she said. "The winner is going to go swimming with me in the heated indoor swimming pool that we just had enclosed." She did a little shiver and rubbed her arms. "Isn't that exciting, everyone?" she asked. "Doesn't that give you the tinkles?" She looked around. "Well, doesn't it, huh? Doesn't it make you tinkle all over?" she asked. All of the children looked curious at each other. Herbert rocked back and forth on his feet a minute. I think you mean tingles," he said at last. Jose nodded. "See, Lucille, you definitely mean the tingles," he said. Lucille squinted at those two. "Tingles, tinkles, whatever. The point is, a play date with me gives you the goosebumps on your arms," she said. "Just look at your arms, people. Don't you see them? Don't you see the goosebumps?"
All of us looked at our arms. None of us saw the goosebumps. We waited and waited real patient. And then finally, "Goosebumps!" shouted Sheldon. "I see goosebumps, Lucille." He ran to her and pointed. "Lucille, look! See them? See my goosebumps?" he asked. Lucille's face beamed real happy. "Oh, Sheldon, those are the goosebumpiest goosebumps I ever saw." "Thank you, Shelzy. Thank you for those goosebumps," she said. After that, she gave him a big hug, and she waved her fingers at us. "Well, ta-ta, everyone," she said. "It's time for me to go look at myself in the cafeteria window." Then she shook her shiny hair, and she skipped away. Sheldon kept on standing there. He was shocked from the hug, I think. Then all of a sudden, his whole face lighted up, and he began to shout, "Lucille, wait up! I'll look at myself in the cafeteria window, too," he shouted. He took off, skipping after her. I smiled to see that. "I think Sheldon has a crunch on Lucille," I said to my friend Herbert. Herb looked at me funny. "You mean crush, Junie B. He has a crush on Lucille," he said. I started to laugh. "Don't be ridiculous, Herbert. It's definitely crunch," I said. "I am an excellent expressions." Herb looked funny at me again. I do not know why. After a minute, Sheldon and Lucille skipped past us. They were smiling and giggling and chasing each other. Sheldon was calling to her. "Come back here, you springy little lamb," he called. I slapped my knee. "Springy little lamb." He called her a springy little lamb. "That's a hoot," I said. May heard me talking. "It's not funny, Junie Jones. Can't you see what he's doing?" she said. "Sheldon is trying to get in good with Lucille, so she'll tell him where the golden egg is hidden. He's just trying to win the playdate to swim in her pool." She followed him with her eyes. "He's not going to get away with it, though," she said. After that, she cupped her hands around her mouth, and she shouted after him, "You can just forget about it, Sheldon Potts. I'm not going to be alone with who finds the golden egg, not you. I've got my eyes on you like a hawk." I looked at her very curious. May has a lot of bird parts, I believe. Also, she is a cuckoo, and that is not name-calling. That is just the truth. Chapter 3, Waiting and Waiting. On Saturday morning, I jumped out of bed very excited. 'Cause today was the day of the party, of course. "The Easter egg hunt, the Easter egg hunt. Today is the day of the Easter egg hunt," I sang real loud. I ran into Mother and Daddy's room and I turned on their light. "The Easter egg hunt, the Easter egg hunt. Today is the day of the Easter egg hunt," I sang again. Mother opened one eyeball. "It's not time to get up yet, Junie B," she said. "It's still dark outside. Please go back to bed." I put my head next to her face. "Yeah, only I don't think that's actually possible," I said, "on account of my brain is already activated." Mother put her pillow over her head. I lifted it up. "I'm going to find the golden egg today," I said. "I told you about that, right, Mother? Whoever finds the golden egg gets to swim in Lucille's hot water." I hugged myself very happy. "I would love to swim in hot water," I said, "except for Sheldon and May want that prize too. Plus Lucille loves Sheldon, and so maybe she might give him a hint or something, and a hint would not be good." I did a little frown. "Plus there is another problem," I said. "May has bird parts, and birds can see as good as a hawk." Mother pretended to snore. I did a huffy breath at her. Sometimes mothers do not act their old age. Finally, I put the pillow back on her head and I went back to my room. Then I picked up my stuffed elephant named Philip Johnny Bob, and we skipped to my closet to pick out party clothes. We looked at all my hangers. I said. What kind of clothes are good egg hunting clothes, do you think, Phil?" Phil tapped on his trunk. Well, let's see. Good egg hunting clothes should be easy to run in, probably. 'Cause when you spot an egg, you will have to beat people to it, right? He asked. Right, I said. Plus, good egg hunting clothes should not be a dress either, on account of sometimes when I am beating people to an egg, I will have to tackle them and get in a scuffle. Correct, said Philip. Tackling and scuffling often happens in egg hunts. He thought some more. Also, good egg hunting clothes should have big pockets to carry all the eggs you're going to find, he said. I nodded. Yes, but plus good egg clothes have to be pretty, right, Phil? I said, because this is a fancy party, you know. I know, said Phil. Egg clothes should definitely be pretty, like. We looked some more. Then, both of us spotted the pretty clothes at once. Like those brand new lavender overalls that Mother just bought, we shouted real joyful. Phil threw himself way high in the air. Yes, the brand new lavender overalls will be perfect, Junie B. 'Cause lavender is exactly like purple almost, and purple is the color of your favorite glasses. He flung himself in the air again. We are a genius at picking egg clothes, he said. Yes, we are a genius, Philip, I said back. I cannot lose in this perfect outfit. After that, I put on my lavender overalls, and then me and Philip ran to the window, and we sat down on the floor, and we waited and waited for daylight to come. The party was supposed to start at lunchtime. There was going to be a picnic before the egg hunt. That information was printed right on Lucille's fancy invitation. I read it to Mother and Daddy at breakfast. A picnic lunch will be served on the grounds before the event, I read. I smiled. I enjoy eating on the ground, I said. Mother laughed. Oh, I don't think you'll be eating on the ground, Junie B., she said. Grounds are what rich people call their lawns and gardens. I got down from the table and looked outside. Do we have grounds? I asked. Mother rolled her eyes and looked at Daddy. Heavens no, Junie B., she said. What we have is weeds and crabgrass. Daddy sucked in his cheeks at her. Weeds and crabgrass is an issue, apparently. After breakfast, I waited for it to be time to leave. It was the longest morning I ever saw. Then finally, Daddy said it was time to go. And so I ran to the car, lickety-split. Lickety-split is the grown-up word for zippity-fast. It took forever to get to Lucille's house. We drove and drove and drove. Then, at last, we turned down Lucille's long driveway. Lucille's house! Lucille's house! We're finally at Lucille's house, I shouted. I pushed my nose against the window. Remember when I came here last year, Daddy, I said, me and my friend Grace spent the night at this place, and I ate dinner and breakfast with her rich, expensive Nana. Then, oh my gosh, I saw her. I saw the rich, expensive Nana. She was standing there with Lucille's mother and Daddy and brother. They were welcoming all the cars. I opened my door and I ran to her. Well, we meet again, Nana, I hollered real happy. Then I hugged my arms around her middle and I tried to lift her off the ground. Only she didn't actually budge that good. I stepped back and looked at her. The Nana had put on a few pounds, I believe. After that, I tried to lift her again, but this time she took my arms away. Oh dear, no, young lady. You mustn't try to pick me up, she said. You'll hurt yourself. I looked kind of puzzled. Yeah, only I'm not a young lady, Nana, I said. Look, see, it's me, Junie B. Jones. I pointed at my face. Don't you remember me, huh? I spent the night here with Lucille and Grace. Remember that, Nana? It was the time of our life, I said. Nana looked at me closer. Then all of a sudden drops of sweaty came on her head. She took out a tissue and dabbed herself. Oh my, oh dear, yes, I remember now, she said. She did a little shiver. Junie B. Jones, I remember you well. I skipped around her in a circle. Today is going to be fun, right, Nana? I am going to find the golden egg. After I skipped, I held out my hand to do a high five. But the Nana didn't actually respond, and so I just swatted at her sleeve, and that's all. Just then, another car drove up in the driveway, and I turned around. And oh boy, it was my good friend named Shirley. Plus, after Shirley came Sheldon, and after Sheldon came Roger, and after Roger came Camille and Chanel and Herbert and Jose and Lenny, and then all the rest of the children in room 1 came too. Only wait till you hear this. I didn't see you know who. I looked all around to be sure. Then I crossed my fingers for luck. And I hoped that maybe May wouldn't show up at all, because then she would forget that the party was today, possibly. I thought a minute. Or else maybe her daddy's car would get 4 flat tires. Or maybe his battery would go dead. Or maybe his muffler would fall off in the middle of the street. I thought some more and did a grin. Or else maybe May was playing in her backyard this morning and she bent over to tie her shoe and floof, she got carried off by a North American barn owl. I bent over and laughed out loud. Now that was a good one. All right, that is all I have time for today, boys and girls, but I hope that you liked it so far. And join me again next week, and I will read more of Junie B. Jones' Dumb Bunny. Bye, guys.